Ansar Saab has done a tremendous job from what I have seen in the draft copy of the presentation, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. So without further ado, I will request Mazhar Mansoor Saab to take it away.
Ji, Jazakallah, Munasab, for a very kind introduction. And Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really honored to be here and talk about this, something that I believe is extremely relevant, extremely timely, and extremely important. Munasab, how much time do I have?
You have 45 minutes, but you can drag on to 50.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Jazakallah for that. All right. So without further ado, let's get started. The whole subject of personal development or self-help, there's a lot of noise about it these days. When you look at it from a spiritual standpoint, I was able to see these two core principles that underlie the whole subject and create the foundation for the rest of our presentation, at least my understanding of personal development. First is, as outlined in the hadith, is about intentions. You have to have pure intentions. And the second one is about actions, striving, deeds, work that you do. لَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. So if you reflect on that, you will understand that you will come to a conclusion that the results and the outcome we get in life are rooted into two things: your intentions, our motivations, and your actions. Those two things have to come together, and part of action is doing dua. Dua is an action that you do. So if you have the pure intentions and the pure actions with dua, that's where the outcome comes. So that's the foundation of what I'm going to talk about today. So let me ask you this. Have you ever made a New Year resolution or set yourself a goal that you wanted to achieve? Let me say that it's a workshop, not a presentation, not a talk, not a lecture. So that means you guys do the work and I do the shop around here. So please do participate and please do provide comments. So raise your hand if you have ever made yourself any type of goal or resolution. Excellent. Thank you. Jazakallah. Most people. Here is the data. More than 40% of Americans make New Year resolutions and goals. This is just a brief overview of all those goals that people set for themselves. But let me tell you this. Change is not easy. It's hard. It's almost impossible, especially if you're trying to change others. Raise your hand if you are married, please. You know what I'm talking about. But that's the bad news. But there is a good news. You can change yourself. While it's very hard to change others, it's very easy to change yourself. And there is no launch pad you need. You don't need an airport like an airplane to launch. You can decide to change right here, right now. That's the power of being a human being. Here is a success rate. Only 8% of the people actually succeed in achieving their goals. 92%, a whopping 92% do not achieve their goals. So here's the question we're going to talk about. Why do so many people fail to achieve their goals, and what are the secrets behind those who succeed? So that's the question we're going to talk about. Any ideas? Any comments here? Yes, sir. Motivation and intention, those are the two things that are not in place. That's why they fail. Sir, you have a comment? Yes, please. Let me hear. Okay, go ahead. Goals, the way they set their goal, there may be something in that. Lack of consistency. Excellent. Ji Khan sir. Making achievable goal. Let's look at that. All those are wonderful points. I think that if we need to answer that question, we have to look at the three things. We need to do three things, basically. We need to understand goals, dig deeper into that. We're going to do that, and we need to elevate those goals. And we're going to talk about that, and we need to build a system. Goals are not enough. We need a system. We're going to talk about that. So let's look at the first things. We are living a paradox. We are the most in-debt, addicted, obese, and medicated people in the history of this country. This is despite the fact that we live in a most prosperous, richest, and most information-rich society. Despite all that, this is data. This is not a value judgment. That's who we are. This is the society we live in. We are not necessarily immune to all those things. So if you reflect on that, the only way to get out of that mess is something has to change. We have to do something different. We have to set ourselves some goals, some meaningful, achievable goal that will get us hopefully out of that mess. If you have goals, goal will help you set a destination, focus, inspiration, measure your progress, and give you a decision-making paradigm. So what to do and what not to do. The goals help you see that. So that's why we need goals. Another way to understand the goal is the time. Who has heard this statement before? Please raise your hand. Time is money. What does it mean? Anyone? What's your understanding of that statement? What does that mean? Time is valuable. You can't take it back. Anything else? You can buy time with money. Let's look at another perspective. Let's see if that's really accurate. If we think that time is equal money, then time is treated as a resource. We live in a work by an hour society. More you work, more money you make. That's the reality we live in. So yeah, time is money in a sense. But if time is money, then time is treated as money, then it's just a resource. You do more, and then activity is confused with productivity. But if you really think about it, time is basic unit of life. Time is your life. And if you go by the average age in this country, roughly we have 30,000 days. That's all we have, all of us. Maybe some lucky ones have another 10, 20,000 days, but most people, that's all you have. Money you can bank, time you cannot. Money you can lose and gain back, time you cannot. So the real thing is that whatever time you have, you cannot trade it for money. So the goal that you want has to be something beyond money and power. Another way to look at it, most people look at success as money and power. Again, that's misleading. If you pursue that, that's what you get. If you change that and think about time as your life, and the purpose of that, your objective becomes how to optimize that time, how to use that limited amount of time, limited number of days that you have to maximize the outcome and choose the meaningful dream instead of pursuit of money and power. It's really simple. Einstein said it this way: life is like riding a bicycle. To keep the balance, you must keep moving. You must keep setting yourself goals. Some of you must be sitting, I've been there, done that, cut the t-shirt, I've retired, everything, life is good. Why do I need to set any goals? Issue is, if you don't keep pedaling, don't keep moving, you will lose your balance. That's just the way life is. There is no stationary point. There is no stagnation in life. You lose your balance. That's why you need goals. Second point, now that we have a basic understanding of why we need goals, is we need to elevate goals. Most goals are reductionist, like lose 10 pounds, get rid of that disease. Somehow stop your wife nagging you. Those are reductionist goals. You need to see the big picture. There's a beautiful story that says that 6 blind men, once went to see an elephant, and this is what they saw. The one who touched the rope thought it was one who touched the tail thought it was a rope. One who touched the leg thought it was a tree, and so on and so forth. What they saw was true. The description was not necessarily wrong. It was just not the whole truth. So elevating your goals means seeing the big picture, seeing the whole thing. Because when you don't see the whole thing, when you set yourself reductionist goals, this is what happens. You apply a wrong solution. Or you solve the wrong problem, or you apply the wrong solution. So if you don't see the big picture, if you don't take the helicopter view of life, you apply the wrong solution, or solve the wrong problem. So what we need to do is to adopt a systems approach, holistic approach, looking at the big picture. What is a system? System has parts, they're interconnected, they have purpose. You change one thing, it's going to have side effect. It's going to impact something else that you might not know. So unless you understand the whole system, human body is just like that. If my teeth are hurting, maybe it's if I did not sleep well. I did not sleep well, I couldn't pay my mortgage. I couldn't pay my mortgage, I lost my job. So they're all connected. So you can't just fix one little thing in your life. So you must elevate your dream, see the big picture, take a helicopter view of your life. It's happening everywhere in medicine. We just heard that wonderful presentation. So they're not just talking about disease care, they're talking about prevention, they're talking about healthy lifestyle. Psychology is not just about curing depression and crime and phobia and everything. It's about happiness, success, and joy. And in leadership development, my field, they used to just talk about performance gaps, weaknesses. Okay, they will do some kind of evaluation, you're wrong here, there's a gap here, we need to fix that, and they will come up with a plan to fix the gaps. Now they're talking about the potential. Forget about what the weakness is, see what the potential is. So this little shift in perspective changes everything. It dramatically changes your outcomes. So key thing is actually to change your perspective. We're going to do a little activity, because this is important. A couple of people pointed that the way we set our goals is the challenge. So that's what I'm going to stress this point a little bit, that we need to first look at the things differently, because when we look at the things differently, things we look at become different. So we're going to do a brief activity. If you play along with me, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to demo it for you, and then I'm going to ask you to do that. So point your finger toward the ceiling. First watch me. Move it clockwise. Yeah, move it clockwise. And gradually bring it down to just level of your stomach. Keep moving, and then just watch that. So let's do that. Starting now, point your finger towards the ceiling, move it clockwise, gradually bring it down to the level of your stomach, keep watching it, and look at your finger and see, tell me what you see. What do you see? It's anti-clockwise, counterclockwise. Anyone else sees counterclockwise? You start off with the clockwise, same rotation, you bring it down, it becomes counterclockwise. Anyone else sees that? We have people seeing that. Why is that? Say that? It's reference. It's your vantage point. It's where you stand to look at something. When you look at things differently, things you look at totally change their meaning. So one of the things, any other reflection, ideas on this? So one of the things we need to do in life to look at the things differently. When you change your perspective, you change your reality. So two things we covered so far. We need to understand our goals, why we need them. We need to elevate our goals. Third thing that's going to spend the bulk of our presentation is building a system. See, goals are great. We do need goals. But goals are not enough. Goals are just saying, I'm going to do this and do that. Most people fail because they have the goals, they don't have the system. There's a difference. I'm using multiple terms here. Goal is a purpose, intention, why, destination, where you want to be. You're here, you're deciding, okay, I'm going to be here. That's wonderful. That's a great start, but that's not the end. You cannot stop there. That's just putting in an address in your GPS system. Quran says that, لَا يَسْأَلُ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. Without effort, without actually doing the deed, the actions, the thing that you need to do, nothing will happen. You won't get anything. So what most people forget to do is to build a system. Build a system and actually act on that system. Here's an example. First, it's a good example of a holistic goal. Instead of saying, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, change a different language. Take a holistic view of your life. Say that I want to achieve optimal health, and then build a system. Maybe this would work for you, maybe it won't. You need to see where you are, what you need to do. The point is you are intentionally trying to identify things that will help you get from where you are to where you need to be. That's the system. Here's another example. Well, not an example, activity. To become an effective leader. What do you think needs to happen? If that's the goal, that's the dream, that's the purpose, intention, the end result we want, what actions do we need to do? That's what we want to be, great, but what do we need to do? Any ideas? You've seen great leaders. You read about them. Some of you are great leaders. Yes. And what specific actions would you take? Anything. That's a desire. What action? I want to drill it down. This is a lower level thing. Those are principles. I want to get an action, actual thing that that person can see. When you see a great leader, what do you see? So what do you see in a great leader that you would follow? One example, just one. He motivates people. He goes nice, says nice things to people. Okay, Lugmani sir?
I would say that the goal that you want to keep need to be slice and dice into small achievable milestones.
Yes.
And those milestones need to be defined realistically and tangible.
Absolutely, but I want to get to one or two specific things that you can observe. Acts, not beliefs, not ideas, not principles. Acts that you see a great leader, you see, okay, yeah, anytime I see him, he always shakes hands with everybody and hugs everybody, he's smiling. That's an observable behavior. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Somebody who is, whatever he says, he means it. And say, for example, he's punctual, for example, in meeting with people, then whatever he says, he just comes through. So
Excellent. So he's articulate, he's punctual. Two things. Again, let's get down to the exact behavior that we can observe and emulate, follow. He's an inspirational person. He makes people believe.
Practice.
He does what he preaches. Yes, Team Rams. Communication. So a leader has great. Let's get a couple of comments here. So that's your process. Because if you are here, you want to be there. The first thing you want to do, see how great leaders do. There's a lot of science behind it. Because it's very hard to change people's principles and values and beliefs. It's very easy, actually, to start. Ultimately, you want to get there, but you want to start with actions, observable behavior. If you see a great leader, he always shakes hand, smiles, hugs a person. That's an example of an observable behavior that you can copy. Maybe you don't understand everything about effective leadership, but if you admire that particular piece of behavior, let's put it there that I am going to do that every time I see somebody that I need to connect with. This is how I'm going to, because we are trying to change the ship here. So you need to identify actionable things that you need to do. We had a comment here. But that's a value. That's not an action. What does a trustworthy person does? Give me an example of that. When you see a trustworthy person, how would you say he's trustworthy?
He's consistent.
Okay.
He's reliable.
Those are, again, values. I'm looking at the actions.
The ability to...
We got great communication.
turns up on time.
Turns up on time. That's easily something that you cannot be, that's what you believe that it's a good leadership trait. We're talking about traits here, not the values. There's a slight difference.
The body language and shows his reaction to
Body language. So he is expressive. That's one example. Yes. He makes decisions. So he does not always sit on things. He will make decisions. Could be wrong, could be right, but he makes decisions. He has the courage to do that. We're going to move on. We're going to take another example, just one or two ideas. This is the theme of, obviously, the Ijtema here. How to become a man of God. Let's see, if you see a man of God, what is the observable behavior that you can copy, you can learn from? Anything. Again, the values are not what we're trying to do. That's true, but beautiful. That's a great example. Regular in salat. If a man of God is regular in offering his salat, that's one of the things that we can easily learn from and copy, and because it's a long process. Though no one thing helps you get there, but every little thing these are the little things that matter here. Even that great leader smiles a lot. He calls all the friends that he needs to inspire and stay in contact with. He doesn't wait for people to say Islam. He initiates Islam. Whatever are those little things, because everything counts. He's truthful. Yes, sir? Beautiful example. He reads Quran regularly. That's a wonderful example. So that's an observable behavior that we can easily copy. Fair and just in the relation. We're going to move on. Thank you. Again, we said systems, but systems are part of system. No system is alone. Like in human body, there is respiratory system that's part of human body system. Human body system is part of overall universal system. So one of the way I have been able to break it down to put things in systems. Before we get to the dreams, the top layer here, we need to build a foundation. I call it the focus method. Focus stands for 4 C's of unlimited success. It's just a logical breakdown to help us understand. Human mind is very weak. We hear something, we read something, we get inspired, get excited. After we forget about everything and nothing really happens. We're talking about sustainable change here. For that, you need to build a foundation. You need to change a mindset, you need to acquire a new skill set, and you need a tool set. All 3 things, mindset, skill set, tool set. And that's what this framework provides. I'm going to briefly go over that. First thing is clear your mind. Most people's idea of change is actually adding new things. It doesn't work that way. Or if your schedule is full, your mind is full of 100 different things, your house is full of stuff, it doesn't work. So first thing is Xing out. Getting rid of, deleting, removing, clearing your mind space and schedule. Creating a growth mindset, believing that change is possible. We can all become better versions of ourselves. We can grow, we can evolve. That's the first step. Clearing your mind of all the preconceived ideas, all the things that hinder us from changing, from becoming better. Second is space. We got too much stuff. As Quran reminds us. We keep acquiring stuff that we don't need. Just imagine buying a beautiful painting and putting it in a room that's full of junk, full of stuff. What's the point? Unless you clear that house of all the junk, all the useless stuff, there is no point in that. Second is schedule. If you're working 12, 14 hours doing all sort of stuff, do you realistically do something that's worthwhile? Like if achieving optimal health is your goal and that requires going to gym for an hour, can you really do that? So unless you remove some of those activities that do not help you to move toward goal, it's useless. So the foundation is the first thing. You need to build a foundation, clear your mind, space, and schedule for everything that's useless, that does not add value, that not help you take you towards the dream. Second is connect. Connecting with yourself, knowing who you are, what your values are. Yes, sir? Vision. What about vision? Absolutely. Great point, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, great point. Vision, that's the key job of the leader, to creating that future vision. Where he should have that. Absolutely. Beautifully said, sir. Beautifully. Thank you. So the second point is connect. Connecting with yourself, knowing who you are. They call it self-awareness. A lot of studies around that. People who know who they are, what their values are, what their belief system, what community they belong to, where they want to be in life, are more successful than anybody else. So when knowing yourself, reflection, prayer, connecting with people, nothing great has ever been achieved without the help of other people. These are acquired skills. We can all learn that. So connecting with people, what that does mean? Networking, knowing people, making friends. It's not just exchanging cards, it's building deep and meaningful relationships with people who really matter. Their specific skills, their observable behavior. You know the people who are great networkers, great relationship builders, what they do, so you can learn from them. Second, environment. Connecting with your environment, the trees, the lakes, the clouds, the mountains, all the beautiful creations of God. We are so much used to living in artificial environment, man-made environment. We forget how beautiful this universe is. Why I say all that? But because when you know the importance of self, people, and environment, you know how beautiful these things are, you're less motivated to spend your time, the limited amount of time, 3,000 hours that you have, 3,000 days that you have in the pursuit of money, power, and fame. So it's all connected. You cannot leave a vacuum. You need to find something else, fill that vacuum. So you're not pursuing money and power. What are you pursuing? You're pursuing relationship. You're pursuing deep and meaningful relationship with your own self and with the environment. Last one, conduct. That's what we're going to talk about. Dreams, values, and habits. Dreams, it's just another word for goals. You can call it goals, you can call it purpose, you can call it intention, you can call it whatever end result you want to call it. It's just a word. Real thing is having a clear idea of your future state. This applies to individuals, this applies to teams, this applies to organizations. It's called vision in organizational setting. You can call it vision, you can call it a dream. But the core principle is we can all become better. Once you clear your mind, two previous C's, clear and conduct, from all the internal and external junk and connect with your inner and outer world, then you are ready to pursue your dreams. So those are the two foundational principles. And discover your values and change your habits. This is one of the topics Sadar Saab actually, when he asked me to do this workshop, asked me to stress. So I'm going to actually ask you a question. Because one of the questions, all that goal achievement stuff sounds more exciting when you're young, when you're going to school, looking for careers and all that stuff. So, but how is this relevant? As we age, how do we stay engaged, continue to serve, find purpose, discover new goals and dreams as we age? What are the challenges in that? Let's first talk the challenges, and then we're going to touch on what are the opportunities. There's certain advantages that we have as Ansar and certain disadvantages, quite frankly. Our bodies are not as strong as they were. We're not at that stage in career and life where we once were. So let's get some comments here. First, the challenges.
So that paradigm shift is very, very important to keep in mind. Like these are the our restrictions. I mean, we just cannot be as 17 years old now. We are like 47.
Beautiful. Other point, what are the challenges? Yes, sir. Beautiful, beautiful. We establish certain habits that are very difficult to break. There are actually a lot of science. There are neurological pathways that doctors, neuroscientists can actually see in your brain. They're really like in the jungle where pathways develop if people keep walking there. There's similar neurons get connected. There's visible pathways that are a result of those habits. Habits is really anything we do repeatedly. Then it's neurologically extremely difficult. So it's not that person is mean or bad. It's biological. We are wired to stick to our old habits, even when we know they're bad. Even smoking, one example. And beautiful. Well said. Excellent. You have a point, sir?
Beautiful proverb.
Please speak a bit louder so everybody can see. I know you don't have a mic.
There is a beautiful proverb in English language. Habits are cobwebs in the beginning, but cables of steel in the end.
Beautiful. Couldn't have said it better. Thank you, sir. Habits are cobwebs in the beginning, but wires of steel once they are developed. So they're very hard to break, in other words. Yes, sir.
So some of the challenges are, we as human beings, as we age, we become more averse to change. In other words, it relates to the habits that we have. We don't want to change. And I think for those of us who've come from Pakistan in later years, it's acclimatizing ourselves to this environment and recognizing that we all have strengths and we have skills and that we are no less than the next person standing next to us, whatever the color of their skin. Because I think some of us are intimidated by the people who may have a different color, like for example whites, but we need to think that we are no less than others and we will conquer the challenges and take advantage of the opportunities that we have.
Jazakallah. We're going to move on. Actually, I was been just told that we don't have a whole lot of time, so yes, we do need to be realistic. Tahir Kamar Saab is going to distribute one activity that we're going to soon start, but I want to touch a couple of points before we do that. One is this a famous psychologist called Abraham Maslow. He presented what is called the hierarchy of needs. What it is really, he said that human beings have hierarchy of needs. Their lower level needs are met. They are called deficiency needs. We all need to move to the higher level needs. And he broke down needs into two categories, deficiency need and growth needs. As we grow older, as our lower level needs are met, we must move to the higher level need. That's his way of saying self-actualization. I would put it this way, very simple. Meaningful dreams, the needs are basically grouped into two sections. One is two questions basically, how do I improve myself? And then ultimately, how do I serve the humanity? Those are the two questions that really matter. And improving ourselves is three things. How do I improve my body, mind, and soul? How do I become healthier, learn new things, soul, evolve in spiritual matters, and serve humanity? One cannot be done without others. First is the building of the capacity. We cannot give others what we don't have. My promise to give you $1 million would be a lie if I'm broke and penniless. So we must first do the first thing, improve ourselves, build our capacity in all matters, in financial, social, spiritual, body, mind, everything. We constantly need to strive to improve that, because that's building the capacity. That's getting ourselves into a position where we can do what really matters, serving humanity, starting with our family, friends, our community, and the whole world. Next, if you all have this, let me briefly explain that. This is something what I call a dream framework, but this really is put things into perspective. Okay. Absolutely. In that case, you need to have the skills to give people dreams. You need to be a dreamer so you can help others dream. So it's not really, having doesn't mean money, having the desire to do things, having the skills to inspire and motivate others. So those are having things too. So that's one of the things we're going to do this activity, learn how to use it, and hopefully if you like it, help others go through their process and help others achieve their dreams. So this activity is simple. Basically, I call it a dream framework. You start with the declaration of your meaningful dream. And we talk about what is meaningful. Anything that improves your body, mind, and soul, anything that serves humanity, that's meaningful. Becoming so this and that, and there's so many useless, meaningless stuff. That's not what I'm talking about here. It's becoming meaningful, becoming men of God. Anything that helps us be better people and helps me to serve the humanity is meaningful. We're going to do that, and that's our number one. So we're going to start with end in mind. It's based on some key principles. Visioning, start with end in mind. Modeling, learn from the others, as we talked about. So you don't have to start from scratch. Observe people who have already achieved those dreams and copy them. Model their behavior. Don't start from scratch. You don't have to. Pacing. It's not about taking massive action. It's fixing those little things, but being consistent. Focus on what you can control. Adapting. No matter what you do, you're going to learn that may not be for your actions may not be leading you towards your end game. So being flexible to change that, and at the end celebrating. You need to find a coach, somebody who could help you in the advisor, mentor, somebody, some elder, some colleague, somebody who can coach you, help you. You need to find a dream team, your circle of family of friends, because meaningful dreams should not be hidden. There's magic in that. You declare your dream, the whole universe, if it's meaningful, it's based on true intention, whole universe will come together to help you. That's the power of meaningful dreams. But you must declare. So we're going to start off with number one, declare a meaningful dream. Come back to number two, recognize your current situation. Three, establish new habits and accurately measure your performance. So activity is that just 2 seconds. We're not going to do the whole thing. We don't have the time, but we're going to do 1 and 2. Just write a dream statement, anything. You don't have to share it with anyone. It's a personal activity, personal reflection, anything, any area, unless you think you're perfect. Well, I know nobody is. Any one aspect of your life that you want to change, right? Start the statement with improve, help, write something. I have an example there. And just write that statement and write at least one strength that you have that will help you get there. Just two statements. Your future state, desired state, and any aspect of your life. You can, improve this thing, improve that, help others achieve this, write that. There's so many aspects we can improve. Again, don't write a reductionist statement, write holistic statement, right? Look at the big picture. And then write one thing, recognize your current state into that. Just one statement that is your strength, your existing state. Okay, 3 minutes for that. Time starts now. Thank you. You don't have to share. It's a personal information, although I will encourage you to share. How was this great country of ours created? Through a declaration of independence. The country was declared into independence. So when you declare your dream, magic happens. If you hide it, nothing happens. So write that statement and then write at least one thing under number 2. Recognize your current state, your strength. You can write more, but at least one thing. All right, if you're done. Who's done? Please raise your hands if you're done, if you're finished. All right. I need at least a couple of volunteers who can dare to share their dream. It's optional. I'm not going to force anyone. It's a personal thing. You're going to share your dream, sir? Empower who? It has to be a little more specific than that. Empower yourself? Empower us. Thank you. Jazakallah. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Anger control. Beautiful. Well, one of the things I said, not reduction is not negative. You have to put a positive spin. Thank you for sharing first. It takes a courage to do that. But how do we say it differently? How do we say the same thing positively? Improve emotional control. That could be a better way to state that. That's negative. You have to put up what do you wish to be, not what you wish not to be. I want to be a great time manager. Maybe. Yes, sir.
Rather like to see the cup is half full rather than half empty.
Beautiful. Develop a positive outlook in life. That's what probably you want to state it that. Jet, set, go. Beautiful. Anybody else? Quickly, we just can take one or two more, please. Yes, sir.
Do you mind if I use the mic?
Just keep it brief.
Because they can't hear us otherwise unless I use the mic. My dream is to help people believe in themselves. And my strength, I'm very confident.
Beautiful.
Be a good human.
Be a good human being. There's so many ways to do that, and we don't really have time to go through all that, but please do reflect on that. Please do think about that. And once you have that, we're going to do the next activity, which is equally fun, actually. So if you turn that page around, next activity actually is not just about doing things. In order to achieve any dream, any future state, any purpose, any sustainable improvement, we need to do 4 things. We need to stop doing something. We need to start doing something. We need to do some more of and less of. So take just 1 minute or 2 minutes and write at least one thing, quick thing in each column, because nothing happens unless you do one of the 4 things there. You stop doing something, you start doing something, you do less of or do more of. So just take 1 minute, not more than that, and write at least one thing in each of the quadrants. Yes, sir.
Nirh balakun ke arzani hanus. This is the Persian that do more. Nirh balakun. You understand?
A little bit.
Nirh balakun.
Price will increase.
Increase the price. Arzani hanus, that this is still less price.
Okay.
Or increase the thing, or increase the magnitude.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So yeah, let's write one thing, just one thing in each of the quadrants. We can always complete the exercise later on. We do have a time shortage. My time has been cut. All right. Anybody want to share that? Yes, sir. Just briefly.
Yes,
I would love to put more into my salats, my prayers, to achieve the things that I want to do.
What is it that you're going to stop doing?
Things I stopped doing. There's quite a few things I want to stop doing.
What would you do more of or less of?
Well, I got eyes, and I got eyes for one.
Jazakallah. Jazakallah for sharing. Yeah, I understand. You don't have to share with that. But the point is, as long as you have very clear idea of what you want to do, less of, more of, stop doing and start doing. Nothing will happen. Trust me. Something have to happen for something to move. Any comments on these two activities? We're going to move on. We just have a few minutes here. Can anyone guess what this is? Anybody? Say that again. Lychee. Acorn. Anybody? Yes, it's an acorn. Beautiful. Thank you. It's an acorn or oak nut. You know what this can anybody see an oak tree here? Not really. You can have that, sir. That acorn does have an oak tree in it. All it needs is water, soil, and sunlight. The potential for the tree is there if certain ingredients are provided. Just like an acorn, we all have tremendous potential. If we develop the right mindset, right skill set, and right tool set, and build the habits. Because sustainable change does not happen with just a workshop, a book, or anything. Just a temporary motivation, inspiration, excitement doesn't really change anything. You have to convert things into habits, which is really a way of saying that if you keep doing things consistently, they become second nature. Remember, think about the time when you developed the habit of offering namaz. Wasn't that easy to say namaz 5 times a day? But once the habit is developed, it's actually very hard not to say it. You become very uncomfortable when it's namaz time and you don't say namaz. So that's the power of habit. So that's the only way to sustain a change. So you have to start very small. And if you want to run a marathon, start with going out and running 10 feet a day. No, that's ridiculous. But what you're doing here is not really trying to do the distance. You're trying to reprogram your brain. If you keep doing that 10 feet every day, you get up, you dress up, you go out to the ground and you run for 10 feet, then maybe 20, 30, the distance will automatically get added once you develop the habit at a particular time of going out. There's a lot of actually research on how fit or unfit I am is a result of my habits, how happy or unhappy, result of my habit, how successful, everything is about habits. Yes, sir, you have a comment? Not really. So if you have a question, please do ask me. Sure. Definitely we'll have a couple minutes. Yeah, definitely. We can always have a conversation afterward, but I'll definitely create some time for that.
What is the sign of a good leader, big leader, good leader? How would you
I don't know. I'm not really, that's one of the things. If that's what your dream is, the one. Keep it brief, sir. I have been told to just wrap it up. Yes, please.
And he has written in the beginning of that book that a great leader is one when he enters the public life or on a certain course, and he ends that during the interval, the life of the people has changed.
Beautiful.
A change has been brought about when he enters upon that thing, and then when he leaves it, during that course, its fundamental, profound change has come about.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I could not have said it better. It's all about change. That's the ultimate. And you use the word vision. That's a beautiful word. To ultimate leadership is creating that vision. So it's related. Leader does it for the whole community. We are focusing really about ourselves. One of the things that I really loved when Sadr Fahim Yunus said in last regional Ijtema is that we're not going to talk about we should. We're going to talk about I will. And this workshop is really focused on I will. What do I personally need to do to make that happen? It's all related though, it's not separate, because what I do ultimately decide what we become as a group and as a team. And if I'm a leader, then what I do affects everybody. So that's a great comment, sir. So the power of habit. So the two powers actually I'm going to cover towards the end of my presentation. One is the power of habit. In order to do all that, make the change happen, adopt new dream and activities, actions, i.e. effort that we need to do to get to that stage. There are two wonderful forces we can work with. That's why I'm bringing this up. One is the power of habits. There's a lot of science behind power of habit. A lot of great books have been written. Neuroscience has really evolved. And Rabbi Saab over there pointed that out earlier, that it's very hard to break old one, very hard to build new one. The reason we are going through these silly exercises and activities is because we're trying to change. And that's the challenge here. It's not that we need to do that. Once the habits are developed, then we don't need to do anything. The difference is between, I like to say, swimming and floating. Swimming is effort. Water is your enemy. You are struggling not to drown. But when you learn to float, water is your friend. You sit there and you just float. That's the power of habits. When you convert yourself from being a swimming state, the conversion state of from moving from bad habits to new habits. But if you stick with that course and those become new habits, then you don't need any silly sheets or tracking or anything. You just say namaz. It's automatic. But when you're trying to change, you have smoking bad habit, you're trying to quit. But once you quit, you quit. You don't have it. You have a healthy habit. Instead, you eat something healthy. You drink 5 glasses of water every day. A lot of neuroscience, I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to spend too much time, but basically prefrontal cortex and basal ganglia are two parts of the brain that are important. First part is where dreams occur, when we need to make an intentional decision to change. That happens in the basal ganglia, but we can't just keep using that. That's a very high energy part of the brain. We cannot afford to have too much decision making on a daily basis. Ultimately, we need to create habitual responses, automatic, unconscious things. Those are the habits. And we can do that. Our bodies stop growing as we age, no doubt about that, but brains do not. We can build new habits. We can reprogram our brain at any time. Neuroscience is very clear about that. That's not my strong point, so I'm going to move on from the science. I'm an arts guy. And the second power I want to talk about, the power of focus. It's moving beyond huzn and khawf. Huzn is regret, past. Something you did bad, something bad happened to you. You cannot let go of that. Simple thing. If you did something bad, seek forgiveness. Something else, somebody did something bad to you, forgive them. Move on in either case. Future, fear, khawf, something bad would happen. That's our creation of our mind. When you remove those things, all you have the present. But in present, again, you have a choice. There are things that you can control and things that really matter. Two different things. Where they intersect, that's where you want to focus. I can say that I want to stop a war in Syria. I can't control that. I shouldn't focus on that. What I can control, I can watch TV all day. It doesn't really matter, so I shouldn't focus on that either. But when there is an intersection between what I can control and what is meaningful, that's where we want to be. This is just an example. You don't have this handout. What this is basically, it's not enough to identify the thing that you need to do to change your habits and achieve your dream. You need to track them. You need to do on a daily basis. There are many ways to do that. I have a spreadsheet. If you guys send me an email, I will be happy to share the PowerPoint, Excel version and a PDF version with you. Or if you are more high-tech, you can use any of these apps. A lot of people, a lot of science behind it. Basically identifying the thing that you need to do, declaring a dream, things that you need to do, and just doing it consistently. You will slip. It's not easy. Change is not easy, as pointed out earlier. So you really have to do something to change. Once you change, forget about this. This is all nonsense once you change. You don't need to do any of those things. But if you do have bad habits, and we all do, we can all become better versions of ourselves. We can all grow. We can all evolve. But we need to do something. Last point I want to make that knowing is not doing, information is not experience, word is not deed, theory is not practice. Just attending a workshop, reading a book, or knowing some stuff. You hear people all the time, yeah, I heard about that. It's nothing new. What are you telling me? But I asked you then, do you practice it? No, not really. Fact is, all the knowledge about food is not going to make you less hungry. You have to eat. If you are a doctor, presumably you know everything about healthcare. But you still have to exercise, eat healthy, do everything that needs to be done to maintain a healthy body. Just becoming a doctor is not going to make you healthy. Yeah, take medicine if you need. It's the action. Quran tells us, "Laisa lil insan illa ma sa'a." You have to do it. It doesn't say illa, whatever way you would say it without the information. Information is a good start, nothing wrong with that. And you have so many these self-help things going on. Law of attraction. Anybody has heard about law of attraction? It's just a self-help fad out there. What it says, you sit there and think happy thought and things will happen. No, they won't. Quran says they won't. You have to take action. Just because you have the information, it doesn't change anything. You have to have pure intention. You have to take action. Part of the taking action is doing dua. गैर मुमकिन को ये मुमकिन में बदल देती है ऐ मेरे फ़लसफ़ियों ज़ोरे दुआ देखो तो. It's not about philosophies, words or theories or anything. You have to take action. Part of that action is doing dua. You can say every morning I'm going to wake up and I'm going to talk to my God and I'm going to ask for this change. I'm going to ask for His blessings. So it's part of that taking action is doing dua. Very important. Recap. You must elevate your goals. Reductionist goals don't work. Positive, holistic goals with the right motivation. You need to develop a system, make small changes every day, take right actions, track your progress, and then you experience a bliss of meaningful life. Change is possible, growth is possible. One thing that you have learned today, just quick, keep your comments real brief. One thing that was useful, that was worth your time, that you might like to share with anyone, if there was anything. If there was nothing, and you're quiet, I'll take that too. Appreciation. Can you expand on that?
We learned something, and interaction was appreciation. We appreciate it. This might be wrong to us, but we have not actively concerned about.
Beautiful. So it's a common knowledge. Nothing here is that you might not have it. It's common knowledge, but trust me, it's not common practice. My whole thing is to make it a common practice. Do something, sa'i, effort. Anything else? Anything else that anybody learned that they found useful? Act before it's too late. You have only a limited quota of time. Don't waste your time in pursuing just money and power or fame and all those stupid things. Find some meaningful dreams. Yes, sir. Develop good habits. Be mindful. You can just keep doing the bad thing. Everybody sees that you're picking your nose and you just keep doing the rest of your life. Be mindful of what you do and be open to feedback. Don't scare people off. Invite feedback. Ask them, how can I become better in this area, that area? Don't criticize. When somebody provides feedback, just be quiet and listen. Say thank you. Even if you don't like, say thank you. Reflect on it. If you find it useful, change it. Yes, sir.
The meaning of this proverb, there is a Chinese proverb. The more you change the things, the more they remain the same. What do you say about this?
Okay. Okay, it's namaz time, so we're going to wrap it up right here. If this, okay. All right. So thank you very much. That's all the time. I really appreciate the patience. I hope it was useful. Please do let me know if there is anything I can help later on. Mazhar Mansoor.